Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into it. All right, let's pull up this screen. All right, we got 3 Vols. Look like they're going to go in the first round, and we're going to have a big recruiting update, and then we're going to talk about Josh Bond. Yeah, I got a video for you on that one. That'll be interesting. That man had a heck of a college career. Anyway, let's get into all this good stuff. All right, folks, we got 3 Vols that are being mocked in the first round.
If there is one thing I cannot abide, it is being mocked. Now go!
And it's looking like they may very well get drafted that way. This is by Brady Penn in Fan Nation Volunteer Country. And it goes through several things about CBS has got them mocked in a certain way, but I think it's probably pretty accurate. There's only going to be 31 teams in this first round. I think somebody lost a first-round draft pick. And the 3 they're going to choose looks like Darnell Wright, Hendon Hooker, and Jalen Hyatt. And Darnell Wright looks like he's probably going to go 17th pick to the Steelers. He might even go earlier than that. He has had a great last couple of months. He did fantastic at the Combines, real good at the Senior Bowl, and, of course, he had a great season. And he's the one guy that made Will Anderson totally disappear in that Alabama game. And we can kind of quietly thank Darnell Wright for that victory because him keeping that guy at bay allowed Hendon Hooker and Jalen Hyatt to have a field day, which they did. I like him going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's a good quality club, and I think he'll do well there. The next guy looks like Jalen Hyatt going to the Giants in the 25th pick. There's a lot of talk of him going there. I think that would be a fine place for him. Now, they've got that guy, what is it, Jones? Daniel Jones is their quarterback. I don't know how well they may need to find another quarterback. I'm not sure that guy's going to work out. And he's great at Duke and everything, but I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. But Jalen Hyatt to Giants makes sense. And then as far as Hendon Hooker, he's been meeting with the Saints a lot. And the Saints got Derek Carr from the Raiders, which was my professional team that I prefer are the Raiders. And they got rid of him, and they've brought in the guy from San Francisco. I don't know how that's going to play out. But Derek Carr to the Saints, he'll probably do well there. And that'll allow Hendon Hooker to have a full year to recover from his surgery and learn the system before he's, required to go in, I would think. So I like all 3 of those, and I definitely like Hendon Hooker going to the Saints. Now, CBS is the same crew that had none of our guys going in the first round after the first 8 games where we were 8-0, and Hendon was lighting it up, and Hyatt was going crazy, and Darnell was dominating, and they didn't have any of those guys in the first round. And now, because of basically I think the Combine, the interviews, and everything that's happened, now they got 3 guys in the first round. So that's pretty terrific. Now let's talk about recruiting. Yesterday I talked about Gage Ginther, the guy from Colorado who's a 3-star offensive lineman. And if you've watched any of his video and highlights, everybody's talking about how he should be a 4 or 5-star. Even the guys that do this professionally and break down all the film, they're like, this guy's ridiculously good. And I agree. And I showed quite a bit. If you've not seen that, go back to my last video. I show all the highlights, and, the guy's ridiculous. He's going to be a good quality offensive lineman for us. And I think he'll be a 4-star easily his senior year. And I wouldn't be shocked if he was a real high 4-star. But let's see who else we're looking at and who we can probably count on to come visit the Vols and hopefully commit. All right, we know Mike Matthews out of Georgia is real warm on the Vols. He's been up here a couple of different times. And I think what he wants to do is play wide receiver. This is a guy that could play defensive back as well, but the Vols are recruiting him as a wide receiver, and I think that's why he's so interested in the Vols. And he is one of the top players in the country and would be an outstanding get for us and to keep him from going to Georgia. We'll see how this plays out, but he's very interested in the Vols. Williams Winery has been to Knoxville several times. One of the things I really like about him, besides the fact he's outstanding 5-star, he is also high on the Vols, and he is out of Missouri. So him being from there makes me feel better about getting him because we just picked up Chandavian Bradley out of Missouri last year, who is almost a 5-star edge rusher. And we won't have to fight that home team as much as when we're trying to get somebody out of Georgia or Alabama. Now, Sammy Brown just visited this weekend, the 5-star linebacker out of Georgia, and he's been to Knoxville 5 times. So he's obviously very interested. Now, the problem is we've got to pry him out of Georgia's hands, and that's not going to be easy to do. But I can tell you he would find playing time much faster here. We're now building up our linebacker crew, whereas Georgia is loaded. I understand he might want to go to Georgia and sit for a while, but if he comes here, he's probably going to get on the field much quicker. So something to consider. Ryan Wingo, we know he's still very hot on the Vols, and of course he's gotten a crystal ball pointing in the Vols' direction, so I feel real good about him as a 5-star wide receiver. Jarrett Gibson, the number 1 running back in the country, he's actually coming to visit on June 16th, and we're going to have several big-time players coming on the 16th of June this summer, and hopefully we can boy, it'd be nice to get a 5-star running back in that offense. They would be, man, we would be tough to beat. Also, Camarion Franklin out of Mississippi. This is a defensive lineman who is a big-time get if we could pry him out of Mississippi's hands, and that shouldn't be that difficult. Now, I'm sure Lane Kiffin will have a little something to say about that, but we don't sweat him. Jake Merklinger, of course, we've already got him committed, a very high 4-star, number 55 player in the country, and so that should help us bringing in some of these other guys. Daniel Calhoun would be an awesome get for us, a big-time offensive tackle out of Marietta, Georgia. He's the number 63 player in the country, and I believe he's coming also on June 16th. Yes, he is, so that's an important date. Jordan Ross, an edge rusher out of Birmingham, Alabama. That's not going to be easy to get him out of Alabama. And Jaden Riddell, I believe he's also coming in June. That's a very high-end tight end, and we need 2. You know, we've already got Jonathan Eccles coming out of IMG Academy, so it'd be nice to get both of these guys. We need 2 tight ends. And then J.J. Harrell, we've already got him committed, and Caleb Beasley, the number 1 player in the state of Tennessee. And then Edwin Spillman, the number 3 player in the state of Tennessee, linebacker. I know that he's leaning Tennessee, and we need to get him and not allow him out of our state. Marcus Gorey, we've already got committed. So you can see here our official visitors. We've got Jarrett Gibson, the number 1 running back coming. Jordan Marshall, another big-time running back on June 16th. We're going to have a lot of big dogs in here on the 16th. J.J. Harrell, he'll be here. He's already committed. There's the Jaden Riddell. And let's see, there's Daniel Calhoun and several other big-time players. There's a bunch of edge players coming on the 23rd. We've got 3 big dogs coming. There's Edwin Spillman coming on the 16th. Those are the 2 big dates, the 16th and the 23rd. So after picking up a couple of offensive linemen and a cornerback for 2025, 24 and 25, we've had a nice little week of commitments, and now it's just time to go after these big-time players, these 4 and 5 stars, especially the 5 stars. We need 2 or 3 of those in this class to finish top 5, probably 3 if we're going to get solidly in there. And right now I think we're 7th. So I would think coming off 11-2 and everything that we have to offer, we should be able to get right around that 5th position. Last year, 9th, which, look, we brought in some great players. We were ranked 9th, but I'll tell you what, I could not have been more pleased with that recruiting class. It was just loaded with what we needed. Edge rushers, cornerbacks, and, of course, the number 1 quarterback in the country, some elite players. So we're on our way. We just got to keep grinding and keep bringing in some of these big-time targets. And I do want to take a moment, this whole Josh Heupel thing, I told you, he was in theater at Oklahoma along with being the starting quarterback. So he's a very busy person and talented dude. And it was really close whether he was going to go in the NFL or possibly become an actor. He was talented at both. And I think quarterback might have been his fallback position because he tried out for some big roles. And I've shown you that, last few days and just barely missed out on him. Well, this is one that would have changed his life completely, and we'd have never seen him again. Because if you get a Bond role, you're going to be that for the next decade. And this guy came close. When you see this video, you'll understand what I'm talking about. But fortunately for us, it went to Pierce Brosnan. Now, Pierce, was in Remington Steel, and, he was kind of an ideal fit for it. So I understand why he lost the part to him. But like I said, I'm going to show you this video, and I think you'll understand why. It was almost Josh Bond.
The name's Bond. James Bond.
Yeah, I think you can see what I'm talking about. I'll tell you what, he could have pulled it off. But fortunately for us, Pierce Brosnan came in there and swooped in and took it. And we wound up with a great coach. So, pretty interesting stuff. I just keep finding some of these great outtakes. And, I'm going to show them from time to time, if I can find them. They're not easy. I did get some help from a few people out in Hollywood that, were willing to send me these items. All right, folks, just wanted to cover the 3 Vols look like going in the first round. And of course, our recruiting update and our guy Bond. Anyway, if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Let's me know to continue to cover the Vols and all these goings-ons. And if you've not subscribed, it's right here on the left. Just hit that little button. Just boop. That's all you got to do. Helps me out. Doesn't cost you a penny. And right over here is my most recent video. Be sure to check that one out. We'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.